Hey y'all, my name is Kobe Warner. Welcome back to Koblizzy after a very long time, but now brought to you from New York City. I moved to East Harlem, New York about a month and a half ago now, almost a month and a half ago. And I always used to say this when I taped this show. I would say there's so much to catch up on, or there's so much to say, or so much has happened. Um, I don't know if it's ever been more true. So much has happened. I actually might literally have gone through like 10 variations of Kobe's since I've last taped an episode of this show. At one point, I thought maybe I wouldn't do it anymore. At other points, I really missed doing it. And at most of those points, I really didn't feel like I had a lot to talk about. But what's so interesting about hindsight is that it is 2020 because so much has happened to me in the past 7 or 8 months. And for good, bad, or otherwise. And I just there's so much to talk about. So, as usual, without further ado, I will start with none other than the song of the week. But I must warn you, now that I live in New York, it's not rural southern Georgia, and I have background noise, and I live by the metro train track on the east side of Manhattan. And so you might hear a train rolling by, you might hear police sirens flying down Park Ave, and that's just how it is here. I'm just gonna have to get used to. Actually, I've already gotten used to the surround sound, but I guess now you guys are gonna have to get used to the ambiance. There's always racket and there's always noise. I have all the windows closed, so hopefully that will help as much as it can. But it's New York. So the song of the week is from Mayhem by Lady Gaga. It's funny actually that me bringing this podcast back intersects with Lady Gaga's Mayhem release because I'm happy to promote this album. Killa is Killa. That's my favorite song. Upon first listen when Mayhem came out, I fell asleep the night, like the Thursday night going into midnight, Friday morning, I fell asleep. So I listened to it as soon as I woke up at like 6:30 the next morning, maybe 5:30. It was super stupid early. And oh my god, Mayhem is so good. I'm going to talk all about it, of course, but if I have to pick a favorite or two, Killa is the song of the week, and the honorable mention is absolutely How Bad Do You Want Me? Like that bubblegum pop, frou frou, cherry cherry boom boom, like the Fame Monster vibe, but also kind of 1989 era esque vibes. I loved that on Lady Gaga. I liked the way she sang it. I liked her vocal performance. The tone that she used was much different than the way that she sings all most of the time, but also oftentimes on Mayhem she was singing with much different tone than she was on specifically How Bad Do You Want Me. So I really enjoyed that one. And I really think that's been a standout for me the past couple of days. But Killa's ridiculous, and the SNL performance was crazy. I'm going to dig all into that, as well as the SNL performance of Abracadabra, how much I love that song. I mean, there's just so much we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about Short and Sweet Deluxe. We haven't talked about how there's a Cowboy Carter world tour that I'm going to. There's just so much going on. Wow. And I'm in a different state. I moved 770 something miles away from where I'm from. I moved 1,000 miles away from my hometown, and it gobsmacks me low key, like how how much life can change and how quickly, and also how your expectations don't always or almost never come to fruition. What you think's gonna happen. It's like it's bittersweet in a way too because you have to like mourn the loss of these things that you wished were going to occur. But life is so interesting, and I have so much to tell you. And I'm not going to say that again because you get the point. But I moved to New York. Like I said, I live in East Harlem. I've been here for a month and a half. I left Georgia officially on January 31st, 2025. Before that, I worked for Amazon for about 6 months to save up to move. It was horrible. I was delivering packages. I really did not enjoy that job. I traveled a lot throughout 2024. Muggsy, my sweet and only dog that I've ever had in my life, his 14th birthday would have been on March 8th, which was about a week ago as I taped this episode. And so since we lost Muggsy last April, he died on Earth Day in April 2024, about a month after his 13th birthday. And ever after we lost him, like my parents would travel a lot when I was still living in their home, and somebody had to be home with Muggsy. And so if nobody else was there, like if he couldn't go, like I would be there with Muggsy. And so when we lost Muggsy and he was no longer a factor in having to be shackled to the home. Everybody's traveled more, but like I had never traveled so much as I did in the year 2024. Um, I mean, I went to Panama, I went to Orlando, I went to Dallas, Texas, I went to Boston, I went to New York like 3 or 4 times throughout the summer and the fall. Um, I went back to Orlando. I lived in my hometown in the Golden Isles for about a month, doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show, playing Frankenfurter, with the Encore Company's production of Rocky Horror. I went to New York again. So many times I was all over the place. I went to my hometown where I was born in Indiana for my dad's 60th birthday party. I was somewhere every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I was gone for about a week, and it was a really fun year. But near the end of the year, my friend Vicky, who's now my roommate in East Harlem, it's just her and I here, and she we met in college. She asked me about did I want to move to New York? Her lease was ending at the end of January. Was I really serious about wanting to move? Because I had been talking about it, hence why I had been visiting New York so much last year, and in the past couple of years. And she was like, "Are you serious?" There was this one time where I was visiting in December. We saw Sabrina Carpenter, by the way, in September when I was visiting. We saw Sabrina Carpenter at Madison Square Garden. It was Sabrina Carpenter's first time at Madison Square Garden and mine. We met Vinnie Hacker that night. I have a picture to prove it. It's on my Instagram. Met Vinnie Hacker that night, and that was crazy. And then I saw the short and sweet tour again in Orlando in October during the time I was doing Rocky and with Lindsay that time, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, so I was loving the Sabrina Carpenter album. Why did I bring that up? Oh, when I was in New York in December, the time I came right after Rocky and the time after we saw Sabrina Carpenter, I sat down with Vicky and she was like, "Are you serious about moving?" I'm known to be flaky in my life. I change my mind fast. I am a Gemini and I'm true to it. And she was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was serious. And come January 31st, here I am, you know? And now I live in New York. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about New York first, just like updating you on my life before I get into like all the media that we've not discussed together. Yeah, I just feel different. I feel changed for the things that have happened to me in the past couple of months. And that's how life is, you know, every day you change, you know, every day you learn something you didn't know before. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's a good thing. But I really struggle with the concept of change sometimes. And it's interesting because nothing's ever constant. The only constant is change, right? And so when you struggle with change and things are always changing, you're always struggling. And so, yeah, I wanted to move to New York because I didn't feel that the category of person that I represent could shine the best in the Atlanta area, you know, or as it could in New York City. I don't think there's any city that's more coveted in America than New York, and I don't think Los Angeles holds a candle to New York. You know, it's just not the same. And so to me, I was like, I want to conquer the big stuff. You know, I want to go where the big things are. I started feeling that way a couple of years ago. There was a period in time where I thought I didn't really want to live in the city. Like if I was working, I would like to commute into the city and whatever. But I developed a love for the city over the past couple of years and for like urban living. And I I like it a lot, you know, and I wanted to move. And the first time I came to New York was in 2009, and then I didn't come back again until 2021, you know, and then I came every summer since then, 2022, 2023, 2024, and then I visited about 4 more times last year after coming in the summer. And it started to feel like a second home, and I had so many friends here and so much community, so much love, and it felt like a transition that would be plausible. It felt within reach, you know. And a couple of years ago, a decade ago, before I had all this community here, it might not have felt so possible to move 1,000 miles away from your home and try to dominate that place too. Do you know what I mean? It didn't always maybe feel like it could happen, but it can and it could. And as it became more real, my desire to uh, grasp, you know, what I wanted became more hard to ignore. And so I left Berkeley uh, which is the college I attended in Boston. I don't often say its name on this podcast with intention. I usually just say the college I went to. But I just said it, so there you go. I left Boston in the spring semester. It was my fourth-ish semester there. Berkeley's kind of strange. In 2022, I was leaving and miserable there and wanted to get out of Boston, but I didn't know, like what was gonna be for me. And so I went back home to North Georgia, north of Atlanta, and lived in my parents' basement for almost 3 years. And the first half of that period of time was kind of a blur. I was like kind of catatonic, like depressed and drained and uninspired and didn't feel artistic or good or worthy. And it took a while to really like win my gumption back. And I don't know who I lost it to or what I lost it to, but I was so exhausted for a long time. And as 6 months ago, when Vicky, proposed the option of me moving, or as it became more real, as I started talking to my parents about I want to move, as it started becoming, as the date was becoming imminent, as it was 2 months away, as it was 5 weeks away, as it was a month away, as it was 3 weeks, 2 weeks, the feelings that I felt were so complicated. I every time I was driving out of my car, I was thinking, this is one of the last times I'm gonna do this. This is one of the last times I'm gonna be here as a resident of Georgia driving in this car down this street. And that's just how my brain works. I think about things in firsts and lasts and how many times and numbers. And I don't know if that's a part of that OCD diagnosis that I am so desperate not to medicate, but it I I couldn't help but be so focused on how fleeting time is. And it made me really emotional. It's so bittersweet. It makes me emotional now because it was a hard couple of weeks for me. I was so excited to move, and this is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always wanted, and etc. is true. But I also was grappling with, I'm 22. I'm turning 23 in 3 or 4 months. I'm never gonna be this young again. My parents are never gonna be this young again. It's not. I don't live in my parents' basement anymore. It's not a free for all. Things get realer as you get older, and then drop me in the most real city in the country. Like, you know what I mean? Those are big things for the mind to handle, and I think a lot of my community here, a lot of the people I know in New York are from urban areas. Most of them are, except for the people that I knew, like from home that live here, like Alicia or Alex Sapp. But I I don't think they could ever understand how it feels and how the dichotomy, the disparity, the discrepancy of the energy in where I come from and where I've ended up. I guess we should let the police pass or whoever this is making all that goddamn noise. Since I've been here, I've done a lot of fun things. Like my parents were here. Like we got here on the 31st, moved in kind of. I've been moving. I'm still moving in kind of. I mean, most of my room is done now, but like there's still things that you're doing that you won't do again because you just got somewhere, right? But I technically moved in the 31st. And my parents were here until February 7th, so they were here for about a week. And in that time, we went to all three of our first ever Broadway show. I've been in a Broadway theater. I had been to Red Bucket Follies, Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, that event in December with Bella and her mom. But I had never been to a real Broadway show, so we saw MJ, and me and my parents experienced Broadway together for the first time. And as somebody who has like a 15-year amateur theater career, it's kind of insane to have never seen a show in New York after having been to New York so many times, but somehow that occurred. And so we went to MJ the same day we went to the Drew Barrymore show, and a supervising producer came back in the holding room, and her name was Emma, and she was like, hey, does anybody like Kim Kardashian? Does anybody like Chris Appleton? Does anybody want to be on TV? And I'm like, hello. Anytime somebody says is a camera, I raise my hand. You know what I mean? And so long story short, she took a photo of me. Chris Appleton was coming to like do a hair makeover, and she took a photo of me and she took my cell number. And 2 days later, we were at the Drew Barrymore show that day, and we went to MJ that night. The next day we had a late night show. It was either Colbert or Seth Meyers, and we didn't go to those two because we were tired. But a day after that, we had Kelly Clarkson, and I was literally sitting at the holding room in 30 Rock, waiting to go to the Kelly Clarkson show as an audience member. And Emma texts me saying, "Hi, Kobe, I'd like to like schedule a call with you so we can talk about you coming on the Drew Barrymore show to get your hair done by Chris Appleton." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm at Kelly Clarkson. Drew Barrymore's calling. Like, this is crazy." And so, long story short, I talked to Emma on the phone that day. And she was like, "Well, sounds good." I told her my story. I just moved to New York. At this point, I'd been there a week and a half. Like, I just moved to New York like a week ago, Emma. And maybe even less than a week and a half. Like, at that point, I just got here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of nuts to think about. But anyway, so I was explaining that to her. I'm a model, I'm an actor, this and that. I'm getting started here. And she was like, "I love this story. Like, I think we'll totally have you like a part of the segment." And so then I got in touch with this other supervisor, no, this other producer. Emma's the supervising producer. There was another producer named Miranda, and there was this other like girl. I don't know what her title was, but her name was Stella. And like those are the three people I communicated with about this. But long story short, I talked to them a couple of times over the next couple of weeks, and then on like the 20th of February, the 20 something, I went and to the mall in Columbus Circle, and Chris Appleton did my hair in the middle of the mall. There was like 3 or 4 people I think they filmed besides me, but only 3 of us made the final edit. So I don't know, like, I don't really know what happened there. But anyway, so anybody that saw me on Instagram posting about how I was on the Drew Barrymore show with Chris Appleton, well, that's how that happened. I literally just walked in the room and the producer was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hi," and then I gave her my number, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes things just happen for you, and sometimes things don't happen for you. Like the way these sirens will not stop coming by on Park Ave. Do you guys not know Koblizzy's taping? Like, I know there's emergencies. I know it's New York City. I know there's a crime. But please, thank you. See? Look what happens when you ask. Ask and ye shall receive. So yeah, that's how I got on the Drew Barrymore show. It aired on the 11th, so that was 2 days ago as I'm taping this. But if you want to watch it, you haven't seen it yet, it's on Paramount Plus. It's the episode with a chef. Like the title is not Chris Appleton. It's like a chef. Let me tell you. Because they haven't posted it on YouTube. Like I wish they would. They posted all of his other segments on YouTube that he's like done in the past. So I'm hoping maybe they will at some point. But anyway, as of now, besides going to my Instagram and looking in my 2025 highlight, you can watch it there, or you can watch the whole episode of the Drew Barrymore show that I'm featured in with Chris Appleton at the Columbus Circle Mall. It's Eric Adjapong. Eric Adjapong Cooking. It's the episode from 3/11/25. That's 19 minutes long. They split her episodes in half. So it's Eric Adjapong Cooking. And in the last 5 minutes, my segment with Chris Appleton airs. That's on Paramount Plus exclusively, honey. I'll check YouTube to make sure they haven't put it up there, but last time I checked, they hadn't put it up yet. And so anyway, you guys, I also went to the Kelly Clarkson show, as I mentioned. When I went to Kelly, John Legend was there. Big Sean was there. There was like this piano foundation there. That was cool. They sent us home with Big Sean's new wellness book that my mom has read and loved. My dad read it too. I have yet to read it, but it's on my shelf out there. I'm definitely going to get to it. And no, they still haven't posted my hair segment, but I'm really hoping they will, because they like post stuff late on this Drew Barrymore channel. Like for example, when I was at the Drew Barrymore show and the lady pulled me out the audience, Amy Schumer was there that day. They just posted her full segment 2 days ago, and I was fully there like almost a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, fully a month ago. So like, I don't know who run her YouTube, but maybe they'll post it someday. But in the meantime, Paramount Plus is your friend, and mine too. So I can go watch myself be. That's the first time I've actually been on TV, like featured in like a reality type show. I've been in like the background of like, streaming shows, or, the background of music videos and the commercials and syndicated TV commercials even, but never like jansport.com, but never like a TV show, like talk show. And like, that was kind of my dream as a kid, was like to go on Ellen and like be Grace and Chance and sing the song, or be the kid. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. There was a kid that always sang that jingle, like online. And then Ellen like had him on the thing and he sang the jingle, or maybe he only sang it once and it like went viral. That's what used to happen. You would do Alex from Target, one picture, and suddenly you're a celebrity. But Ellen would like bring them on her show and like wring them out of their fame, because you never heard about those people again, low key. But that's a whole other story. So, what else have I done? We went to Drew Barrymore, we went to MJ, we went to Kelly Clarkson. When I was at Drew Barrymore, Amy Schumer was there. I said that. When I went to MJ, that was great. Told you about that. Such a flashy show. A lot of budget with that Michael Jackson estate. I see. Like they ate that. My mom and I went to the SNL experience, like the 50th anniversary experience that was happening like the 2 weeks before the SNL 50 like 3 hour special and the concert. And that was really cool. I also got to go to the Jimmy Fallon show the week before, or the during the week before the weekend of the SNL 50 anniversary, which was super special, because like Paul Schaefer and the SNL band were like guesting for the Roots because the Roots were busy practicing for the SNL concert. It's crazy. It was like a crazy week to be at Jimmy Fallon. And that was a lot of fun. Halsey was there. Renee Zellweger was there. That was fun. I also went to Stephen Colbert by myself one day. Robert De Niro was there. That was a good time. Where else have I been? Me and Jalen were supposed to go to Tamron Hall to see Cheryl Lee Ralph, but we showed up too late. We got turned away at the door. And then we were supposed to see RuPaul at Cheryl Lee at Tamron Hall, and then RuPaul postponed her appearance. RuPaul, catch me outside. Back to this bitch that canceled her Tamron Hall show appearance. RuPaul, what's good? Why would you do that? I'm still aggravated about that. I really wanted to see her. That was supposed to be like a week ago. I'm still thinking about it. What else happened? Oh my God, Beyonce announced the Cowboy Carter World Tour, and like my computer crashed while I was buying tickets. So thank God Jalen got through, and then like we bought them together with a couple of other people. But like, wow, that was stressful, and also they were so expensive, except for in the Verizon presale. Just future reference, people who live in America, if you're buying tickets, find a way to get in that Verizon presale. If you don't have a Verizon, find a friend who does and use their account, because those were the only like reasonably priced tickets, and even those weren't even like that reasonable. We don't have like I had better seats at the Renaissance tour. So that's saying something. And what else happened? So much is going on. I love Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet Deluxe, Busy Woman, 15 Minutes, Couldn't Make It Harder. Just off the top of my head, I've been loving those tracks. Rest in peace to Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean. He passed away at the age of 82, and Dolly Parton was also featured on Please, Please, Please on the Deluxe, which just made me think of that. But like, yeah, pop culture does not stop for me, and it does not stop for the pause of koblizzy. Like Wendy Williams the other day, I was trying to get tickets to see Wendy Williams on The View today. I guess I never like got them because I never got the email. Damn. Anyway, Wendy Williams just passed like a psych evaluation, so I like fully like hoping that she's gonna like come back into the public light. Maybe that's not healthy for her, so maybe I shouldn't wish that. But like, there's this big headline that she's like out of her conservatorship because she got all the questions right in this like psych evaluation test. And I guess the implication is that her dementia was like alcohol induced. That's what I've been reading. Maybe more information's to come. Yeah, damn. She's gonna be on The View at 12:30 today, and it's 11:55 a.m. And they offered me tickets, and I just fucking saw it. Imagine my stages of grief that I just saw that the cutoff passed. They offered me tickets to see Wendy Williams, and I missed them. Did I really miss this email? Oh my God. I literally got tickets to see Wendy Williams at The View, and I didn't even know. Wow. So all the stages of grief are waving through my body right now. You do not understand how much I love Wendy Williams. And I'm so disappointed that I applied to get tickets and didn't follow through on getting the tickets. I'm happy she's doing okay. Is like she actually there today? Oh my God, I'm so sad. Like actually. Wow, I really don't know how I missed that email. I'm like bloated as fuck. How did I miss that email? See, this is what happens when you don't check your email every day. When did they email me about that? I'm sorry, I can't let this go. What the fuck? Like, be serious. I don't even know when they emailed me about it. And now the trains are coming. What? I don't see the email. What is going on? I'm really upset. Like, I wanted to see Wendy Williams. I don't have to cut this up. Like, I'm just gonna bitch for like 10 minutes. They literally emailed me one time on Tuesday. I must have got the tickets last minute or something and didn't realize. That kind of makes me feel better. But like, still, what the fuck? Anyway, Wendy Williams, I'm wishing you well wherever you are. Hopefully at The View in 30 minutes. I love you so much. And that makes me really sad. I hope I get the opportunity to see you in person. I really, like, it's my dream to see her in person. And with her health, being called into question, I was like, this is my chance. I'm going to go to The View. But I guess not. Everything happens for a reason, so I guess I'll get to meet her some other time. That does make me sad, though. Moving on. I want to talk about my New York City expectations versus reality a little bit. I probably should have wrote some down. But it's just like, I am a person who like thinks about things a lot. Like I think about everything 10 times. And so if that might be an understatement. And so when that is the case, I feel like I accidentally create expectations about things, and then I'm always wrong. You know what I mean? Like you're never right when you think something's going to happen a certain way. You're never ever right. But and they always say expectations are like the death of happiness. Like if you don't have expectations, you'll be happier, da 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 da. Well, then why can't I turn my brain off? Like, do I need like a Xanax prescription or something? Because I can't help but expect things. And so all of this is leading me into saying that I just feel like, um, I don't know what I thought New York was going to be. I think I thought maybe I expected it, that I thought it was going to be something specific because of how it feels when I come here and I know all these people. But there's never, nothing lasts forever. You know what I mean? Moments are fleeting. And so living somewhere is not visiting somewhere for a week. And it's not being a guest in circumstances. It's not being in an environment once in a while. And a lot of these people, I haven't been in close quarters with since I lived in Boston almost 3 years ago with. And some of them, we weren't that close in Boston. And so, in a lot of ways, some of these friendships that of people that I feel like I know so well are brand new. That's something I didn't expect. Um, I also, well, something I did expect is how expensive everything is. What I didn't expect is how expensive everything is. Like, I knew it was expensive, and now times it by two in your head, and then you're right. Like, wow, New York is so expensive. I think I had so many preconceived notions that I almost can't even wrap my brain around which one to tack down and tell you about. Do you know what I mean? And so that's something that's been interesting to grapple with. It's not that it's a negative thing. It's not that I'm like struggling. It's just that everything is bittersweet, and that's just how life is. Everything is I don't it doesn't seem, at least in my life, and I'm sure that you can concur, I can't be special, I can't be that special. But it seems that when great things happen, not so great things happen at the same time. And so it's almost about like your perspective is what allows you to be present in moments. It's like if you or see it through the perspective of the negative thing, then you're taken out of the moment. If you see the positive and ignore the negative thing for a minute, then technically that's not even realism. It's delusional, but like that's how you're happy. It's just like complicated to be person, And that's bad grammar, but it's like complicated to be human, like to be whole, to be a whole person with a soul. Because the soul is way more emotional than I'd like it to be. Like, wow. And so I just feel like I was very emotional leading up to the move. I didn't anticipate how emotional I'd be after moving, directly after. And I don't think I anticipated the emotional hangover. I don't think I knew it was going to last or like re-peak, re-stress me out. I wake up so early every morning, kind of like, I wake up like this, like, whoa, like, oh, like, and I'm not, it's like a jolt awake. Life is so funny, dude. I just, it's so funny. And every moment that you've lived, all your memories are yours and you own them. And I just think that's what I've been having to constantly remind myself. Everything that's happened to me was true. But everything that's happening is also true. Everything's true. Everything is romantic. Let me turn the auto-tune on and get in some Charlie bags. Let me get my Charlie XCX bag. Yeah, I was trying to say Charlie XCX, and yeah, I did have a stroke. Yeah. So, let me check my camera. Nail. I was about to say nail check. What's it called? Hair toss. Check my nails. Good as hell. I'm like RuPaul. I won't move my head. I'm not moving my head. The lighting is good where it is. You do not know how hard I worked. If you saw all this stuff that I covered this window with right here so it would stop blowing out the right side of my face. And like when RuPaul talks to you on Drag Race, she'll be like, yeah, ha ha ha, Michelle. Oh my God, that is so funny, girl. Oh my God, hey, you over there. Oh my God, ha 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 ha. And she doesn't move her head. It's me. It's me. I'm like, my lighting is good right here. This is where the good light is. So yeah, I just think in life, as a rule of thumb, you don't have to be moving to New York City, but just in general, release yourself of expectation as much as you can. And trust me, I know the demon that you were talking to, the demon attached to the mind of the person you're talking to, I understand it's hard not to expect things. I understand it's hard not to anticipate things, usually anxiously, personally. But you're going to be wrong. You're wrong. And so if that's any consolation, that's what I have to write. Excuse me. Literally had a stroke. What I have to remind myself is that I'm wrong most of the time. As much as I think I know, I don't know. And I just hope that we can all cope. What I haven't mentioned in this episode of koblizzy so far is the climate of the world. Also, since I've paused making this podcast, we had a presidential election in which I voted for Kamala Harris and in which Kamala Harris did not win. And so in a world where Kamala Harris is not the president of the United States and Tim Walz is not the vice president of the United States, things are a little bleak. Things are much more complicated socially, economically. The prices are going up even more, and it was already expensive in New York City. The tariffs, the international conflict, the foreign affairs, and the disgustingly bad handling of all of it, the domestic affairs and the bad handling of it. The fact that Elon Musk is like shadow producing the presidency is insane. Ghostwriting. Like, what is happening? The climate for queer people is bad. All of a sudden, brands never liked gays. I'm like, what happened to that? Tesla has tweets from years ago talking about how gay people... Tesla is, so good for gay people. 100 out of 100. We love gays. Get out if you don't like gays. LGBTQIA+. And now we have Elon Musk, who is a fascist billionaire, shadow producing our presidency actively. Like, you can't make this shit up. It sounds like a bad fan fiction. It sounds like you literally AI'd the story and then the universe said, sure, let's do that. So I don't know what's going on, really. And the state of the world is bleak. Trust me, I know it. I don't even know what to talk about really specifically. I mean, the fact that they want to, roll back gay marriage, the continued attacking of abortion, the fact that trans people are a prop for so much political fear mongering for next to no reason, considering they're 1% of the population. It's just insane stuff happening on all fronts right now. And so I'm aware of it, but I don't even know really, what to say about it. I've kind of been even more checked out than I usually would be from the news because I'm usually a news reader, but it's like been stressing me out so bad. Like, and I'm already stressed. I just moved to New York. So like, I don't know. The world's crazy, you guys. And there's no denying that. And I hate Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump, in case I wasn't clear. And not that I was, gonna kiss Kamala Harris's feet or anything, or kiss her feet and wash her feet with my hair. What's the Lady Gaga lyric? You know what I'm talking about. Judas. Yeah, it's not that I loved Kamala Harris or anything, but at least she wasn't a fascist, you guys. Like, Jesus. It's insane, like, what's happening here. But anyway, the Oscars happened recently. The Grammys happened. Beyonce finally has an album of the year. I'm happy. Mikey Madison won Best Actress and Nora won Best Picture. I thought Demi Moore was going to win. Nora winning Best Picture was cool. I would have liked to have seen them honor Cynthia, and I didn't think they were going to due to the nature of Wicked being a musical, but then they honored Amelia Perez. So that was a musical and it was bad. So you can only win Oscars if you're a bad musical? I'm confused. That was kind of confusing to me, but I was really satisfied with the way the Grammys went. The Oscars was kind of a mixed bag of tricks for me. I thought it was a little... strange. I thought Conan was fun hosting. I also watched all of the Grammys. I didn't catch the whole Oscars ceremony, just like the important parts. So, yeah, all those things happened, came and went. I would have talked about them in depth had I been making the podcast when they were happening, but I wasn't, so I won't. I really like that red dress Ariana wore during the performance with the heel on the back. I really love Cynthia's red carpet look at the Oscars. I really love Keke Palmer at the Essence Awards with Cynthia, and then at the NAACP Awards with Cynthia. Both those moments, loved that. There's been so much culture happening. The SNL 50 thing was really fun. I liked watching that and the concert. Miley Cyrus was there. It kind of feels like she's about to gear up for a new album, a new era. That's exciting. So yeah, life goes on. Life moves. Whether or not I tape a podcast, whether or not I'm in a good headspace, whether or not you're cognizant and standing, or you're asleep or sleepwalking, life goes on. The earth still spins. I feel the earth move around the axis every time I'm depressed. I feel the sky tumbling down. You guys know the song? So let's talk about some music that I've been loving. Lil Nas is doing this like rollout right now where he's putting out a song every day. So Dream Boy came out on the 10th. Big Dummy came out on the 11th. Swish came out on the 12th. Um, and Right There came out today, the 13th. Obsessed with that. Loving this rollout. Loving these songs. I love all four of them. Genuinely, my favorite's Right There and Swish, but I like Dream Boy and Big Dummy as well. I've been really into Coco Jones recently. She just did this like a concert on the Terrell Show on YouTube, like a live concert, but it's on YouTube, and you should totally go watch it. It's so good. I love Coco Jones, such a great singer, and it's in support of her new album that's coming out soon called Why Not More. And I don't know when it's coming out exactly, but soon. And I love Coco Jones. I've been listening to Bob Seger recently. My mom likes Bob Seger. Just kind of random, but I miss my mom. Mayhem. Let's get to Mayhem. Like, Jesus. Also, Rebecca Black's new album is insane. It's called Salvation. Like, goddamn. Crazy shit. Also loving Doechii. Super happy she won a Grammy. Obviously, I love her mixtape, Alligator Bites Never Heal. There was never a doubt in your mind or mine about that. And I'm happy she's blowing up. Her Fashion Week run was so bomb. Was so obsessed with that Fashion Week run. Doechii, you ate that so bad. You and your stylist, top marks from me. Every look. I loved every look. There was one look where she had her coochie out. She didn't have underwear on. I was like, it's literally charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, honey. You ate that. Ate it. So let's talk about Mayhem. I actually I need to buy it's Thursday today. I'm gonna buy a copy of Mayhem while it's still the first week. So it's 12/12. 12/12 on the dot. I love 12. The number 12 is mine. It's a dozen. It's complete. But anyway, I'm gonna buy a copy of Mayhem on Gaga's website today, so I can support the first week sales. My favorite songs besides Abracadabra, which was a single, is Garden of Eden, Vanish Into You, Perfect Celebrity, Killer. Really, the first 6 tracks are insane. Disease, Abracadabra, Garden of Eden, Perfect Celebrity, Vanish Into You, and Killa. I love them all, genuinely. Now, if you remove the singles from that, I really love Garden of Eden, Perfect Celebrity, Vanish Into You, Killa. That was all the ones that were in singles. Okay, so my favorite of those two are Garden of Eden and Killa. But honestly, Vanish Into You is really close behind it. And Perfect Celebrity is iconic for like a whole other reason. Track 7 is Zombie Boy. I really like Zombie Boy. 8 is Love Drug. 10 is Don't Call Tonight. 11 is Shadow of a Man. I purposely skipped 9. So 7, 8, 10, and 11. On first listen, I was like, oh, okay. But the first 6 songs, I was like, I love these instantly. With 7, 8, 10, and 11, I listened to them and I was like, I like this. But it took me listening over and over again to start to really settle into the disco thing. I think I was expecting something else with this album. And the beginning kind of fit that mold. And then as the album progressed about halfway through, it started to change tone and vibe a little bit. And because of my expectations, because I'd been keeping up with this press tour, I kept up with this Mayhem press tour much more than I've kept up with any album rollout in many years. Like, even people I don't watch all their interviews. I was watching every single Gaga interview for this Mayhem press tour. The hot ones, the lie detector test, the ASMR thing on W Magazine. Like, I watched every video I could watch, I watched it. Do you know what I mean? And so, because I heard her talk so much about the vibe, I was just expecting something based on what she said. And clearly, I misinterpreted her words because I had expectations. Wasn't I just talking about how expectations fail you? My expectations were wrong. We were usually wrong, you guys. Anyway, so I like Zombie Boy, Love Drug, Don't Call Tonight, and Shadow of a Man. I love them now. Now, How Bad Do You Want Me? Track 9, top marks for me. This stupid song might be my favorite. It's so cherry, cherry, boom, boom. Hey, there's nothing else I can say. Like bubblegum pop Gaga for me. And I love it. I love that callback. Because everybody's like, oh, it sounds like Taylor Swift. I'm like, Gaga made this music first. She has songs like this on her first album. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. So I really love How Bad Do You Want Me? I'm not a huge fan of The Beast, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time saying negative things. I'm just not a huge fan. Blade of Grass, I like that song. And then Die With a Smile. Obviously, I like that song. So, my favorite songs, including the singles, I'm going to say out of all the songs on the album, my favorite songs in no particular order are Abracadabra, Garden of Eden, Killa, How Bad Do You Want Me, and Vanish Into You. Those are my 5. I love the whole album. But Vanish Into You really is that good to me. Like, honestly, I like that song a lot. So, loving Mayhem. That's all I was going to say. I'll keep listening to it. I'll keep updating you. I'm sure my favorites are going to change. They always do. And usually when I don't like a song, I end up liking it at some point because, like I said, I'm often wrong. I'm really obsessed with Kelly Clarkson right now, like actually her whole discography. So I'm just going to shout out some songs I really like. The Trouble with Love Is. Obviously Miss Independent, but that's kind of popular. I really enjoy My Life Would Suck Without You, Don't Let Me Stop You, Already Gone, If I Can't Have You, and Long Shot. All of those are from All I Ever Wanted. My favorite is probably If I Can't Have You and My Life Would Suck Without You. My December, actually, I haven't listened to that one yet. I'm going to get into that. And so that's some Kelly. I've been listening to some Charlie Pride. Jake put me on. Shout out Jake. Hallie's new single Back and Forth. I think that's a fun song. I've been listening to a lot of Triumph. My dad liked this Canadian. I think they're Canadian. Let me see. It's this band called Triumph from like the late 70s, early 80s, and they're fire. Yeah, they're from Canada, Ontario. Allied Forces is one record I love. And then their other album that I've been listening to is Progressions of Power. So I really like both those albums. I really like Rebecca Black's new album, Loving Bob Seger, Coco Jones, Lil Nas. Okay, Metro. I'm just going to take a while to get used to the train in the background of this podcast. So let me tell you some songs I've been loving this year from my 2025 playlist on Apple Music. I'm going to shout out some random songs. Body Favors, Jay Stevens. Heaven is 10 Zillion Light Years Away by Stevie Wonder. You and I by Stevie Wonder. Living for the City by Stevie Wonder. All of Alligator Bites Never Heal. I'm not even going to get into it. The whole album's on this playlist. Ray Charles Country Western Sounds. I've been loving Half as Much, Worried Mind, Born to Lose, Making Believe. I've been loving the Black Crowes' first album, Shake Your Money Maker. They're from Atlanta, so I listened to them, and I liked the album. Alabama Shakes. I've been really loving Megan Thee Stallion's deluxe, like Megan Act 2 album. The first song, Bigger in Texas, is like my favorite Megan Thee Stallion song right now. It's so good. I've been listening to a lot of Viola, Reminds Me of Home, Now You're Here, Great Divide, Ride Out in the Country, Shady Grove. I could go on and on. Loving Flow, FLO, the girl group, British girls. I used to talk about them all the time. Love them. Vicky and I are seeing them in Brooklyn in concert next month or 2 months from now. And that'll be my first time seeing them. I tried to go see them in Atlanta one time and I couldn't get tickets. It was the same time I tried to get tickets to see Renee Rapp and couldn't get tickets. And I got to see Renee Rapp after the fact, so now I'll get to see Flo. I'm excited. Somebody I really want to see live is Doechii. Next time Doechii's in New York City, baby, I'm set. Or in Brooklyn, I'll be there. Promise. I really want to see Doechii live. She's so cool. Did you guys see her Grammys performance? Like, what the fuck? That bitch is fire. And she said she doesn't like straight men. Yay! You got my vote. I've been listening to a lot of Destiny's Child. Where'd You Go is a song I've been loving. But I really just really love The Writings on the Wall. That's my favorite Destiny's Child album. So, like, love that. I've been getting into like all of Toni Braxton's music that I didn't know, and I knew most of it, but I don't know The Heat, that album, 2000. I'm Still Breathing on there. I really like the song, the title track, The Heat. Been loving Keke Palmer's music, Better to Have Loved, Rock With You, which I'm pretty sure was the song that was in the credits of the movie that her and SZA just put out, One of Them Days. Her, Keke and Diva Girl, Rock With You, I think that was the credit song for that movie. One of the Diva Girl songs was the credit song. Always listening to Aretha. And Sugarland. Been into Bob Dylan recently. Thanks, Timmy. Eusexual by FKA Twigs is a utter masterpiece. Obsessed with that. Always obsessed with Positions. Jake showed me a song called When I Call Your Name by Vince Gill, and I'm really obsessed with that song. Really obsessed with SZA's Deluxe. Loving that. Roberta Flack, rest in peace. Been listening to a lot of her greatest hits. I felt a little ignorant I didn't know some of the songs I knew so well of hers were covers that were originally hers, and I didn't know that I only knew the cover. Stevie Wonder's Hotter Than July. I've been loving lately. All I Do, and I Ain't Gonna Stand For It. Did I Hear You Say You Love Me? I like that one too. I've been listening to Ben Platt's Sing To Me Instead album. I really was obsessed with that album in high school because I was depressed, and when in Rome. Yeah, so Mayhem's on here. Making Plans from Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris is their trio album. Got a couple songs from that on here. Brandy, Baby, a lot from Brandy's self-titled album. and some Gesaffelstein, the guy that's on Killer with Lady Gaga. Bella showed me a song by him the other day. Gesaffelstein, however you say that dude's name. Crazy producer, and I've been listening to some of that because of Killer. So yeah, I'm like, so much has happened since I've talked to you. I moved across the country first and foremost. I went to the Sweat tour. I went to Sabrina Carpenter. I went to Sabrina Carpenter again. I visited every literal state I could get my hands on. I went to California. I went to New York. I went to Texas. I went to Indiana. I went to Kentucky. I I went to where else did I go? Massachusetts. I went all over the place. I was really everywhere. Went to Massachusetts a couple times last year actually. Anyway, so yeah, life has been nuts. But that's life. That's how life goes. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like I was reaching a point where I needed to do something different. And I could tell that my present settings weren't serving me the way that maybe they could best serve me. But I was scared and I didn't know what to do. And I'm still scared, and I still don't know what to do. All you have to do is jump. Every time I take the jump, something happens. Sometimes you just walk in the room and then you end up on TV getting Kim Kardashian's hairstylist raking his hands through your hair. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just do things. So just show up. If you don't show up, how will you ever know? How would they ever know? Something I love is meeting people. So I've made a point since I've been here to try not to decline events where I don't know people. If I'm tired and you're inviting me to something where I know everyone, I might say, I love you. I'm so sorry I can't make it. But if you're inviting me to something and I don't know people and I'm exhausted, I'm probably going to say yes. Because I like to know people. And it's New York. You want to know people. And so I'm like, just funny stuff. Literally, we walked past Josh O'Connor on the street the other day. And I made eye contact with him and I smiled. And I kept walking because he looked like he was in a hurry outside in 40-degree weather wearing basketball shorts. But I'm just like, it's so fun. Just look, open your eyes. Well, the other day we walked past Sierra Bagas. I'm just like, you just open your eyes. You just see people. Life is so funny. It always will be. In fact, life has a much greater sense of humor than most of us do. And sometimes it takes it too far, where it's not funny anymore. Where the irony does not iron. It doesn't hit the way you'd like it to hit life. So I don't know where this podcast is going. I don't know where I'm going. I mean, I know where I'll be. I'll be here, camped out in East Harlem, but I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what direction things are taking me, but I am along for the ride and I'm trying to go with the flow. And I'm trying to, not buck up too much and not try to control things as much as I usually would and try to be calmer and more present. And all of those things are a challenge for me. I'm the most impatient, most high-strung, aggravating bitch I ever met. You know what I mean? Like, I'm aggravating. I get on my own goddamn nerves. So these goals are hefty ones, but this is one of the this is one of the most personal podcast episodes I think I've ever taped. I haven't watched it back yet, but I don't know if I've ever sat down with such a heavy heart. And that might be an overstatement. I can't remember all the horrible things I went through before I taped Koblizzy's past, but and not that I've gone through something horrible, but I feel so emotionally rich right now. There's so much emotion in me in a way that I haven't felt in a while. And so these episodes used to be a little bit more contrived and a little more manufactured and in a lot of ways less personal. Most of the stuff wasn't about me. Things change, and we change with them, and life moves on and we move with it. And that will always be our story. So, to be continued. I am happy to have filmed this. Feels good to talk to this camera again. It feels very familiar in a way that nothing around me feels familiar right now. But that's life. That's what all the people say. And Joker 2 was really bad, by the way. I watched that on HBO once they got out of the theater and went on streaming. Horrible. I just thought of that because they put that song in the movie. Even Lady Gaga knows it. She joked about it in her SNL monologue. was a bad movie, Gaga, and do not do Joker 3. She was great on SNL, by the way. Another press tour thing that I kept up with. Her Killa performance, I said I was going to talk about it. Let's do it. Before I get out of here, Killa was crazy. Killa was crazy. If you haven't seen Gaga's SNL performance of Killa, go watch it. If you want to watch her dance and sing and impress you with a live mic that she's been doing for the past 15 years, watch Abracadabra. She does a music video choreography. Her mic's on. It's entertaining. It's flashy. Red, ruby, ooh. But Killa, baby. Stephanie Germanata Prince Rogers Nelson is in the house, crawling around on the floor and jumping like a spider. She ate that shit. Yelling and shit. Go watch that performance. Crazy. I said I was going to break it down, but in fact, maybe you should go watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you. If you haven't seen that SNL performance, do yourself the favor of being gagged. And if you have seen it, you understand what I'm talking about. The security camera, the way that the Abracadabra dancers are, worked into the background when they're walking through the back door. And also, guys, rewatch it if you have seen it. In the background, when she's walking past the SNL desk, there is a security guard man back there wearing a Prince sweatshirt. Because I'm like, this sounds like a Prince song. She's wearing purple. There's a full Prince sweatshirt in the background. So if you haven't seen that in the foreground, go look. Support Mayhem. Go buy Gaga's album on iTunes. Buy a physical copy if you want to. If you're collecting CDs, mine are down there. I did drag all of my CDs. Not all of them. I dragged about half of my CDs to New York. So I have about 150, 200 CDs here, and then the rest of them are at home. But anyway, I'm going to buy a physical copy. Support the album in some way. Stream it even if you don't buy it. Because Gaga gave us a pop album for the first time in such a long time. And it feels so good. I'm so excited to try to get tickets to this tour. But I'm not excited to try to get tickets to this tour because every tour recently has been a bloodbath, literally. But I'm excited to potentially see the show. And if not, I guess I'll watch the documentary on HBO. One thing I do know is I'll be sat in the 200s of that Cowboy Carter tour, though. On the floor or not, baby, I'm there. Are you? And the answer's probably no. That shit's expensive. I get it. Koblizzy is synonymous with metamorphosis and with change. And we're going to keep on changing, keep on trucking. So I love you all so much. Thank you for watching this show or for listening on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you are. It feels like a soft place to land, kind of, like a place to, sit and orate. I'm not sure there's a lot of people in my life that I could sit down and share some of these and feel comfortable vocalizing these things in real time with, and yet I'll sit down and tell a camera. That's unique. But I've been making YouTube videos since middle school, honey, so I guess I got the DNA for it. Anyway, it's my culture. I was raised in an iPad kid generation, except I had a Kindle Fire. So anyway, this is Kobe. I love you. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. And until next time, bye-bye.